Hello, Dr. Ding and fellow classmates in EdTech 660. I'll be explaining my learning theories matrix of behaviorism, situated cognition, and constructivism. You can see that my graphic is organized around 5 driving questions. Those questions originated with Shunk and were reported in Ertmer and Newby 2013. Those questions are: how does learning occur? Which factors influence learning? What is the role of memory? The theory best explains what kind of learning, and how can Carmel Learning Center structure its instruction to be consistent with the learning theory? Each question is given a color and its own specific icon, and those colors and icons are consistent throughout the graphic. Starting with behaviorism, we can see some prominent names in behaviorism. We can see when we ask the question, how does learning occur, that the answer is through experience with even neutral stimuli, and the changes in behavior are what is observed. When we look at the factors that influence learning, we can see that in behaviorism, emphasis is placed on environment, reinforcement elicits a proper response, and punishment negates a response. When we consider memory, although habits are formed in behaviorism, the behavior is what is observed, and memory is not really considered. When we consider what type of learning is produced with this or described with this theory, we can see that behaviorism is consistent with recalling of facts, with generalization, and with sequence of actions. When you see a star icon, that usually means that there is a similarity to other theories.
Example of low-level learning, as in situated cognition and constructivism.
The Carmel Learning Center, to be consistent with behaviorism, can continue to use its Plato online learning program, where students receive feedback from multiple choice, drill, and quiz. This icon shows an inconsistency.
Not a goal of situated cognition or constructivism.
Situated cognition is the next theory explained. We can see some prominent names. When we ask, how does learning occur? We realize that the stimuli is not neutral, that knowledge can't be separated from how it's learned and used, as cited in Brown, Collins, and Duguid. When we ask which factors influence learning, we find that culture, the context of the learning, and the practical use of the knowledge create rich learning. And once again, there's a similarity.
Precursor to Constructivism.
When we ask about memory, situated cognition reminds us that information memorized in a school context ill transfers to the actual setting. Teachers can help with organizing memory, but memory created in actual settings, doing the practice of practitioners, is the richest. When we ask what type of learning this theory explains, situated cognition explains cognitive apprenticeship, enculturation, and complex learning. And it is a part of another theory.
Design included in Constructivism.
Lastly, consistent with situated cognition, the Carmel Learning Center strives to form community relationships for real-world context for learning.
Similar to Constructivism.
As we move from situated cognition to constructivism, we find once again some of the key players. We find that learning occurs through interactivity with the world and cognitive challenge in social activity. We find that the factors that influence learning are rich resources, active engagement, and collaboration in meaningful activity.
Similar to situated cognition.
Around memory, constructivism tells us that memory evolves with each interaction. It is not a set of declarative knowledge. With regard to the type of learning this theory explains, constructivism leads to complex and ill-structured knowledge that goes beyond basic skills.
Similar to situated cognition.
And lastly, the Carmel Learning Center is developing project-based learning units for more authentic learning and to be consistent with constructivism. Some of the factors that influenced my understanding and my describing of these theories are the factors of this graphic organizer that I found in Pictochart. I was limited in description by the space that I had available. I could have put more information in there, but once again, space when you're using these beautiful graphics is limited. I also was not limited by, but did my structure around Shunk's driving questions that explain learning theories. So that information is what is emphasized in my graphic organizer as opposed to varying information. I hope that this graphic organizer makes sense and is useful to other classmates. Thank you so much. The following resources were used for completion of the graphic organizer: Learning Theories, Behaviorism, Situated Cognition, and Constructivism by Kelly Douglas.